What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a Gameday Tarps exclusive. My name's Daeden. Alongside me, Colton Davies, and this one, the prospect Daeden, joining us for our 2019 NHL Draft, the Redraft. I think there was a lot of players in that draft that maybe were taken in the lower rounds that could have been top picks, or maybe in the lower end of the first round. I look at the 15th and 16th pick, Cole Caulfield, Alex Newhook, both of those players. Maybe more so Caulfield could have been a top 10 pick, in my opinion, as of the way he's gone. That could be my Montreal bias showing, but either way, we'll get into it here. Let's show the teams. Colton's got the Maple Leafs, the Caps, the Preds, the Avalanche, Flyers, Jets, Pens, and so forth. You see the prospect Daeden's teams there and my teams there on the right. So we're each going to go through and we're going to pick the teams, and we'll see if anybody has a different opinion on the pick that was previously made back in 2019. And I do have Arizona on the side there by Utah. They are Utah now, but I did recognize that they are the Arizona Coyotes in 2019. So without further ado, the first pick in the 2019 draft belongs to the New Jersey Devils, and that pick belongs to myself. So I'm going to go and pick Jack Hughes, just like they did. And I don't think that's a bad pick. For the second pick, to myself as well. And with the second pick, it was Capo Caco. I think I'm going to go a little bit down the board and take a guy like Matt Boldy. So I'm going to have Matt Boldy in the second pick. And for the third pick, we are going to the Chicago Blackhawks. That team belongs to the prospect Daeden. I can throw the team pool or the player pool up if you need to.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on this board. A couple Blackhawks, actually, so that's kind of cool to see. I would probably take, if it wasn't the Blackhawks, who have a plethora of defensive players, I would probably take Sider, but I'm going to take Cole Caulfield because they are in desperate need of goal scoring, and imagine Cole Caulfield with Connor Bedard. I think that would be absolutely electric.
Well, there we have it. Cole Caulfield, the prospect Daeden's pick at number 3. Now we move on to the Colorado Avalanche, and Colorado belongs to Colton. So Colton, I'll pop this board up and you let me know who you're taking.
Well, it's okay. They took Byram, right? So we're going to take Moritz Seider.
Bowen Byram and Moritz Seider, not too much difference there. I think Seider definitely plays a bigger game, but in comparison and how their careers have turned out, both of them are very, very well-rounded prospects, or they were, and have turned out to be very good NHL defensemen. We talked to Max Miller the other day, and Byram might be on San Jose's roster. But the next team up, the 5th team, the LA Kings, and that belongs to the prospect Daeden. So why don't you tell us who you're going to take with your 5th overall pick?
Well, this was Turcotte when they drafted, but they are going to look at a different way this time. You have a guy like Dylan Cousins, I feel like is probably the player that is, there's a lot of players. I want to say Dylan Cousins. I think that it was a mistake that the Sabres did trade him away. I think he's a really good player. There are some other people on the board that they could take, but if the Kings did it again, I think Cousins would be the guy.
Dylan Cousins, not a Buffalo Sabre anymore. He's an LA King. And next up, we have the Detroit Red Wings. That pick belongs to the prospect Daeden as well.
Me again. Yeah.
So
Well,
you're back up.
I'm gonna take you know, it could be between multiple players here, but I'm actually going to take Alex Vlasic. I'm obviously a big Blackhawks fan, but the thing is, Alex Vlasic is one of the most underrated players in the entire league. If we're taking contract into this too, 4.6 for the next 5 years or 6 years, incredible contract. Like, he is rounding out to be a top pair left-handed defenseman who's huge, and offensively, it's getting a lot better. So obviously, you could go in a different route here, but I'm going to go top pair left-handed defenseman. Maybe on a contender, he's not. Maybe he's top 4, but everything I see with Alex Vlasic is just more upside, more upside.
Well, there you go. Alex Vlasic with the 6th overall pick. Now we go to Buffalo. Buffalo belongs to prospect Dawn as well. So you're back up.
This one's going to be Trevor Zegras. I could have had him in multiple areas already, but I just feel like the skill is undeniable. Maybe he has a bounce back with the Flyers, who continue to draft really, really well. That second round was the best second round I've seen in years for any team, based on my rankings board. So I'm going to go Trevor Zegras here.
Trevor Zegras to the Buffalo Sabres. Next up, we have the Edmonton Oilers. That pick belongs to me. So I'm going to hop back over on the draft board. And I think I'm actually going to take a guy like Thomas Harley. Thomas Harley on the Edmonton Oilers. They have Evan Bouchard, the big right-hand shot, but they could use a lefty. You see Matthias Ekholm was out for the playoffs, or a big portion of them. So they could have used a guy like Thomas Harley. Next up, we go back to the draft board. It is the Anaheim Ducks. And that belongs to Colton. Colton, it's your first pick in a while. Who are you taking?
Well, does Spencer Knight make sense? That's who I'm gonna go with. Spencer Knight. So they have the future goaltender.
Spencer Knight, the future goaltender for the Anaheim Ducks. It's not Lucas Dostal. Okay, Colton Davies. Okay. We go to the next pick, the Vancouver Canucks. That belongs to the prospect Dawn. Let's throw the prospect pool back up. But first, we'll go through the names that have already been picked. Jack Hughes, Matt Boldy, Cole Caulfield, Moritz Seider, Dylan Cousins, Alex Vlasic, Trevor Zegras, Thomas Harley, and Spencer Knight.
I would have probably taken Spencer Knight here, so that was tough. But I'm going to take Alex Newhook. Just kind of like, you get value here with that pick. Maybe there's other places. Yeah, I'm going to take Alex Newhook. I'm probably leaving value off the board here, but gives you that depth.
Definitely a great centerman, Alex Newhook, someone that I made ice the puck at the SEDMA tournament in Halifax, and I think it was like 2012, 2014. Anyways, I'll talk about that one forever. Next up, we have the Arizona Coyotes, and that belongs to me because they are Utah. And I'm going to pop the draft board back up. Connor McMichael. I think I'm going to take a guy like Connor McMichael. We've seen him obviously produce at top pace this year with the Washington Capitals. They had a plethora of guys that were actually having career seasons, McMichael being one of them. He won a gold medal with Canada at the World Juniors. So Connor McMichael, for me, is going to the Arizona Coyotes, who are now Utah. And next up, it's the Minnesota Wild. The Wild belong to the prospect Dawn. So you're back up.
I'm going to take Bowen Byram here. I know that concussions have kind of limited his career a little bit, but I think that you're just getting a really good value here. Obviously, good puck handler. I think you get size. I wanted the Blackhawks to take him way back when with the 3rd overall pick, and I still feel like he's highly valued, even if he could be on the San Jose Sharks, which I think would be better for a team like the Blackhawks, who's trying to fight for McKenna again. The Sharks were defense was a problem for them, and I feel like there's a reason why Bowen Byram is so coveted. So maybe there's still value on the board here that I'm not taking, but I think Bowen Byram is a good player.
Well, there you go. Bowen Byram heading off. And the next pick, we have the Florida Panthers. That belongs to myself. I am going to take a little bit of a dive here. Not a dive, I should say, but I'm going to take a guy like Shane Pinto. I think Shane Pinto could fit well into the organization in Florida. He was kind of thrown off last season, everything that went around, and then you saw how he bounced back this year in Ottawa. I think if you throw him on like a third line on a team like Florida, he just elevates everything that goes on there. This is obviously back in 2019 as well. He was younger. It would give him a few years to grow, and he would have been on these Stanley Cup winning teams, which would have just excelled them. I think Shane Pinto is a great pick. Moving on, the next pick, the Philadelphia Flyers, and that belongs to Colton Davies. Colton, you're back up.
All right, the Philadelphia Flyers select Cam York.
Cam York from the Philadelphia Flyers at the original pick. The next one, the Montreal Canadiens, and that belongs to me. So I am going to hop back on the draft board. I am going to take the Russian, Pavel Dorofeyev. This year he had a breakout season, and especially in the playoffs, when he got to the playoffs in the first round against Minnesota, he was one of those breakout players on the power play. He was on PP1 with Vegas this year, so I'm sending Pavel Dorofeyev to Montreal. They just got another Russian, so I mean maybe Demidov and Dorofeyev would become best buddies in Montreal. Who knows? The next pick we have on the board belongs to the Colorado Avalanche, and that belongs to you, Colton Davies. Who are you taking?
Okay, Colorado takes Pyotr Kochetkov.
Pyotr Kochetkov. Okay, that's an interesting pick. Any reasoning behind that one?
Well, they had goaltending problems, and they still do. So at least Kochetkov kind of gives them a little bit of insurance.
Pyotr Kochetkov is there to almost save the day. The next pick up is the Vegas Golden Knights, and that one belongs to you as well, Colton. So you're back up.
Philip Robert.
The next pick up, we have the Dallas Stars, and that belongs to the prospect Don. You're back up at the draft board. You're on the clock.
You know, I'm gonna actually take Capo Caco here. I feel like he's just fallen too much. I do like him as a player, and I think that the change of scenery has helped him a lot, and I think it's going to continue to do so.
A nice pick there. Almost, we could say the steal of the draft, if so, for the prospect Don here. And now the Ottawa Senators. Oh, no, go ahead. Say what you want to say.
It would make sense because Kako would be around all his Finnish brothers in Dallas, right? So he probably would almost have a different outlook if he was there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them are there? There's 5, right? Like Heiskanen, Lindell, Granlund, Hintz. Maybe there's 4. But yeah, you're right, Colton. That's definitely a good shout there. The next pick is the Ottawa Senators, and that pick belongs to the prospect Don. So you are back up at the draft board and on the clock.
I'm going to take Alexei Protas. I really like his game. I thought that he fell very far, and I feel like he's just continued to produce. So I'm going to take a swing with him here.
Alexei Protas going to the Ottawa Senators. I bet you that would be a pretty good spot for his development. But next up, we have the Winnipeg Jets, and that belongs to Colton Davies. You are back up at the draft board and on the clock.
Okay. I know that I had a player already taken, but who did they took Heinola here, right? So let's go a different defense route, and let's go with Jackson Lacombe.
Jackson Lacombe, the player you just said you wanted to take a pick earlier, or 2 picks earlier. Now you're getting to pick him. Doesn't really seem like that big of a difference. You still get Lacombe, so there you go. Next pick up, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that belongs to Colton as well.
Caden Korczak.
Okay. Caden Korczak, the LA Kings, and that belongs to the prospect Don.
I'm going Nick Robertson here. I like his game. I feel like it would be an LA Kings type of game. So, yeah, I'm going to go him.
Yeah. Good.
Robo Jr., someone that I heard a lot about living in Toronto the past 2 years, Nick Robertson. I think it would give him a little bit of a lease on life, if you could say. He's playing a depth role in Toronto, and I think in LA, he might have been able to move his way up the depth chart a little bit. But the next pick is the New York Islanders, and that is Colton Davies.
Let's keep the defense going with Jaden Struble.
Jaden Struble, a name that I was just looking at, someone that's popped into Montreal's system and has played pretty well for them, someone that kept Arbor-Xhekaj in Laval for most of the season. But now we'll move on to the Nashville Predators. The Predators belong to Colton again.
Has Alex Turcotte been picked yet? Wait. Chicago. Wait. Nashville.
Okay. Wait. I'm waiting.
Nashville takes Kirby Dach.
Kirby Dach. Okay. Nice. It's 2 Habs in a row. Colton taking Kirby Dach. Maybe a little bit of a better fit. Next up, we have the Washington Capitals. The Capitals belong to Colton as well. Colton, you're back up at the draft board, sir.
Washington selects Arthur Kaliev.
Arthur Kaliev, a pretty nice pick. I think he would fit Washington's system very well. He's got a lot of Russians to play around there. One of the best of all time, if not the best of all time. Next up, we go to the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames belong to myself. Now it's time to turn my brain on and really think. And if I'm Calgary, I'm actually going to take a player that they're very familiar with in Jacob Pelletier. I think it's just a no-brainer. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning also belong to me. Now it's time to really turn my brain on. We're getting down here a little bit. I'll take Niels Höglander. Take him away from the Vancouver Canucks. And he's going to Tampa Bay. Niels Höglander. And the next pick is the Carolina Hurricanes. That belongs to the prospect on.
You know, while we were going through all the picks and it kept being Colton, I was terrified that you guys are going to steal my player here. And it's Jordan Spence, who had an incredible year, was plus 23, I believe, on his team, which should not have been. So, you know, on the Senators. So I feel like he would be a player that is considered a steal here. So I'm trying to get the steal of the draft. So I'm just picking them all.
The Anaheim Ducks are back up, and it's Colton Davies back up for the pick.
Okay, we're going to go with Philip Tomasino.
Oh, my goodness. The one thing that I think of when I think of Philip Tomasino is that shot against Sweden. Was it against Sweden? Maybe it was against the Czechs in the World Juniors. What a shot. This guy's got a release on him. He hasn't really found his game solidly in the NHL yet, but I think Tomasino is still some guy that could squeak into an NHL lineup sometime soon.
Brother in Christ.
But with that,
I found a player on drafting. It's not on the list.
who?
No, I'm not telling you.
Oh, nice. Well, next we're going to the Boston Bruins, and that belongs to the prospect Don.
This is tough. Can you go back to the list? There's I'm gonna go Tobias Jornfoot, however you say that. But he was yeah, I just feel like I would take him here.
Once you get down to the end of the draft board, not too many players left. Bjornfot plays for, or he was drafted by the Kings, I believe, or plays in the Kings system.
Now he's with Florida.
Yeah. Oh, he's with Florida?
He had 0 points in 14 games this year.
Wow. Okay.
So Stanley,
there you go. He said it himself, but he's taking the risk. He's taking the pick. Tobias Bjornfot to the Bruins. Next up, with the last pick of the first round and the last pick in this 2019 redraft, we go back to the prospect Don. You want me to throw that player pool up for you again?
Yeah.
Wait.
Colton says wait.
Hey. There's a certain player that's not on the list that you could take. His name is he just got traded from Utah to Toronto. He's a Finnish player. In the 4th round.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take him. He has played a lot of NHL games in the last 4 years, so that'll get me back on the board. Thank you for Colton with the assist.
Well, it's not very often you see GMs helping out other GMs here at the NHL Draft, but there you go, folks. That was it. The 2019 NHL Redraft. Myself, Colton, and our special guest, the prospect Don. Do you want to tell everyone where they can go check your stuff out?
Yeah, I'm over on YouTube, X, TikTok, and Instagram at the prospect on. I am already looking to interview 2026 prospects as NHL draft prospects, trying to get those in as quickly as possible. This is a lot of downtime for people. I am just going to continue to produce as many videos as I can. I'm over there on all those different platforms, so you can follow me over there. Thank you guys for having me. I love coming on the program, so this was awesome.
All right, stay tuned, everyone. We will have more coming up this week on GDT Live and on the Gameday Tarps podcast, so keep an eye out on our YouTube and our Patreon like we just started, and we'll be back. We'll see you next time.